Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to be doing a deep dive into, this news that has everyone talking. Billy Joel, the piano man himself, is postponing his tour, and it's not just a simple reschedule. This is something more. It's about his health.
Right.
So we've got this Fox News article from March 11th, 2025, breaking it all down, and it gets pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about, the reason behind the postponement, what it means for, his fans, and even get into like how demanding life on the road can be, for these music legends.
Yeah, for sure. It's certainly a reminder that even the biggest stars face these health challenges.
Right.
And what's really interesting is that this postponement is coming at like a pretty pivotal point in his career.
Yeah, you're right. There's like a lot more to this than just, a few rescheduled dates.
Totally.
So let's get into it.
Okay.
So according to this Fox News article, the tour is on hold for 4 months, starting now,
Wow.
just to give Joel time to recover from surgery and go through physical therapy.
And for those who already have tickets, the good news is they'll automatically be valid for the rescheduled shows.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So the tour is looking to be back in action on July 5th, 2025, starting in Pittsburgh.
Okay, that's good to hear. I mean, that definitely makes it easier on fans who've been looking forward to this, but it does make you wonder, what kind of surgery are we even talking about?
Right? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, there's no official word on the specifics, but this is where things get kind of interesting. If we look back at his recent activity just last month, during his final show of a 10-year residency at Madison Square Garden, he tripped after tossing his mic stand.
Wait, hold on. Are we thinking that mic stand toss could be connected to the surgery?
It's impossible to say for sure,
Yeah.
but it definitely raises some questions about the physical demands of performing.
Right.
Even like seemingly small actions can have consequences, especially when you're doing them night after night on a huge tour.
That's true. Yeah, it's not just playing the piano, it's a whole performance.
Yes.
And speaking of performance, this postponement comes after a pretty significant period for Joel, right? I mean, he just ended that record-breaking residency at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
And then he released his first new single in almost 2 decades.
Exactly. Turn the lights back on.
Yeah.
That wasn't just a new song, it marked like a huge return for him after years without new material.
Yeah.
This, coupled with statements he's made about continuing to tour even after wrapping up his residency, just shows how driven he is to keep performing.
Yeah.
It's clearly not just a job for him, It's like a passion.
It seems like he's got this fire in him to keep going. But how does that passion for performing square with the reality of needing surgery and taking time off to recover?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a tough one, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a question that a lot of artists grapple with.
Yeah.
The music industry, particularly touring, can be pretty relentless.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's a constant cycle of travel rehearsals and performances, and often with very little downtime.
Right.
It takes a toll on both the body and mind.
It makes you think, even with all of his experience, maybe there's a part of him that's struggling with having to hit the pause button like this.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, actually.
Yeah.
In fact, his public statement about the postponement kind of gives us a glimpse into that struggle.
Yeah, okay.
He expresses sincere regret for having to reschedule and, acknowledges the disappointment fans might feel.
Right.
But he also emphasizes that his health just has to be the priority.
It's a tough spot to be in, for sure.
Absolutely.
On the one hand, you've got this drive to keep performing, and you've got this connection with your fans that you don't want to break. And on the other hand, his body's clearly telling him he needs to slow down and heal.
Exactly. And that's where the bigger picture comes into play.
Yeah.
How do artists, especially as they get older, find that balance between their passion for performing and the need to prioritize their health?
It's a real tightrope walk, isn't it?
It is.
Trying to stay true to your art, connect with your fans, but also listen to your body and know when to take a break.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really does raise questions about the expectations we place on these artists. We often forget they're human, just like us.
Yeah.
They have limitations and vulnerabilities.
Right. We see them on stage full of energy, and it's easy to forget that there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes. Years of dedication, countless hours of practice, and the physical toll that touring takes.
Totally. And then you get the emotional side of it, too.
Yeah.
The constant pressure to perform, the fear of letting fans down, and that intense scrutiny that comes with fame.
Makes you wonder if the industry itself could do more to support artists, especially as they get older.
Right.
Could there be ways to make touring more sustainable, build in more downtime, or create a culture where it's okay for an artist to say, hey, I need a break?
Those are really important questions. We often see artists pushing themselves to the limit, sometimes even at the expense of their health. just to meet the demands of the industry and the expectations of fans.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time we rethink that dynamic.
Yeah, it really does seem like a systemic issue, you know? We applaud artists for their dedication and their passion, but then we also kind of expect them to run themselves ragged. It's where's the line between supporting their art and demanding too much?
Right, that's the million-dollar question. And it's not just about the industry either, it's about us as fans too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We need to be more aware of the toll that touring takes. To be more understanding when an artist needs to postpone or cancel shows, and to recognize that their well-being is essential for them to keep creating the music we love.
It's about finding that balance, right? Enjoying the music, appreciating the performance, but also respecting the artist as a human being with limits.
Exactly. And that respect can translate into practical actions, you know?
Yeah.
Supporting artists who are open about their struggles, advocating for changes within the industry that prioritize artist well-being, and just simply acknowledging that they're not superhuman. They're people who need to take care of themselves.
It's interesting, you know, we talked about how this postponement comes at like a pivotal point in Joel's career, but maybe it's also a pivotal point for the industry as a whole.
I think so.
A chance to have some honest conversations about how we can better support artists and their health, both physical and mental.
Yeah, maybe it's an opportunity to move away from this, like, the show must go on mentality.
Right.
Which often puts pressure on artists to perform even when they're not feeling their best.
Yeah.
Instead, we could embrace a more compassionate approach, you know, recognizing that a healthy artist is ultimately better for everyone, for the music, for the fans, and for the artists themselves.
You know, thinking back to Joel's statement about this postponement, he specifically thanked fans for their understanding, and it makes me wonder, what does understanding even look like in this situation?
That's a great question. Maybe it starts with simply acknowledging that even our idols have limits.
Right.
It's about being patient when they need to take a step back and recognizing that their health isn't just their personal concern. You know, it's something that impacts their ability to create and share their art with the world.
And maybe it's about having conversations like this one, you know, not just focusing on the postponement itself, but going deeper into these issues and considering how we can all contribute to a healthier, more sustainable environment for artists.
Absolutely. It's about shifting our perspective from seeing a postponed tour as an inconvenience to seeing it as like a necessary step for an artist's well-being.
Right.
And ultimately recognizing that their well-being impacts all of us. Their music, their art, their performances, you know, it enriches our lives. And supporting them means supporting the continued creation of the art we love.
Well said. So, as we await Billy Joel's return to the stage, hopefully healthier and stronger than ever, let's keep these thoughts in mind, you know?
Yeah.
Let's celebrate their dedication, but also advocate for a more sustainable and supportive environment for artists in the long run.
Because ultimately the well-being of artists is intertwined with the well-being of the art itself.
Yeah, it makes you think about like the bigger picture of the music industry and our role as fans, you know? It's so easy to just get caught up in the excitement of a new album or, you know, a tour announcement, but we got to remember there's a human being behind all that, you know?
Yeah.
Someone pouring their heart and soul into their craft.
It's a really powerful reminder that the art we enjoy doesn't exist in a vacuum, you know?
Right.
It's created by people who have their own lives, their own struggles, and their own needs.
Yeah.
And sometimes supporting an artist means understanding when they need to take a step back.
You know, it's interesting to think about how this whole situation with Billy Joel kind of reflects like a broader trend in the music industry.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we've seen other artists, you know, from all genres and generations having to cancel or postpone tours because of their health.
Absolutely.
It seems like the demands of performing are really taking a toll.
It is. And it's not just physical health either.
You're right.
We're seeing more and more artists being open about their mental health challenges too.
Yeah.
Like the pressure, the anxiety, the burnout that can come with this lifestyle.
It's a conversation that's long overdue.
It really is.
And it's a conversation we need to keep having.
Yeah.
You know, like how can we create a culture where it's okay for artists to prioritize their well-being, both physical and mental, without fear of judgment or, you know, career setbacks?
Right. And that's a question that requires like a collective effort.
Yeah.
You know, it involves artists being open about their needs, managers and promoters, prioritizing health over profit, and fans just being understanding and supportive when an artist needs to take a break.
It's about shifting our perspective from seeing artists as these entertainers who are always on to recognizing them as human beings who need to, you know, recharge and take care of themselves just like the rest of us.
And that shift in perspective can start with each of us. Just being mindful of the human being behind the music, appreciating their vulnerability, and recognizing that their well-being is essential for them to keep creating the art that enriches our lives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's leave you with this thought to ponder, what does it really mean to be a fan?
Ooh, good one.
Is it just about enjoying the music, or does it also involve supporting the artist's well-being, even when it means, sacrificing a concert or two?
That is a question worth reflecting on.
It is.
Because ultimately, the longevity of an artist's career and the continued creation of the art we love depends on a culture that values both artistic expression and human well-being.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another exploration into the fascinating world around us.